Stop. Introduction. Welcome to Pucker Gallery in Round, Maine, an exhibition of my most recent paintings. This is Marguerite Robichaux, and I'd like to invite you to join me on a short tour of my neck of the woods. I live and paint in the western mountains of Maine on the edge of wilderness. My home and studio lie in the shadow of the Bigelow mountain range, and I can see Kennebago, Sugarloaf, and Saddleback Mountains. The south branch of the Dead River flows past and into Flagstaff Lake. This landscape figures prominently in my paintings, for it does so in my life. The forest and fields, streams and waterfalls, hills and peaks are my subjects. The beauty of the Maine landscape never fails to inspire me. Stop, MR 193, Southwest. Let's start with the Watercolor Southwest. This painting is one in a series of eight compass points to special places from my home where I like to paint. If you were in a canoe paddling downstream on the South Branch and floated into what locals call the Cove, this would be the view looking toward Bigelow. If you had your watercolors with you, this might be the view you would paint, which is what I did one summer's day. My home is just a stone's throw beyond that rocky ledge, so I didn't have far to paddle. This is considered a worm's eye view, maybe fisheye since we are on the water, where the horizon is above the viewpoint. The dark woods with their reflection in the cove and rock ledge anchor the painting on the left side, the light reflected on the water and the diminishing scale of the trees from foreground to middle ground to background leads the eye to a glimpse of Blue Mountain. The lyrical paint handling of the reflections in the water and the suggestion of clouds in a pale sky contrast to the dense darkness of the woods and balance the composition. Stop, MR 162, Katahdin. Mount Katahdin is about 80 miles from my house as the crow flies. A longer, more circuitous route is required if traveling by car. However, if you have the good fortune to fly over this magnificent mountain on a clear September morning, as I did last year, this might be what you see. This is a bird's eye view, which gives an expansive and sweeping vista. I wanted to capture the grandeur of an icon. I wanted the viewer to feel the scale and weight of the mountain, to be in awe of its presence and its dominance over the landscape. At the same time, I wanted the viewer to know that this is a painting. It is not a mountain, hence the dripping paint, the unfinished edges, the smears. As with so much of our Maine landscape, Katahdin has been painted often and beautifully by many artists, so I had to find my own voice to sing its praises. Stop, MR 185, Study for Twin Falls, and MR 163, Twin Falls. Back closer to home, let's hike into a favorite waterfall near Flagstaff Lake. I've always liked painting water, and a few years ago I embarked upon a series of waterfalls. The dynamics of rushing water, carving its path through rock, makes a wonderful graphic image suited to my drawing style. And then there is the challenge of painting rushing water, carving its path through rock. I usually start with a small watercolor study made at the site or in the studio from sketches and photos. I then move on to a larger oil painting and use the techniques most often associated with watercolor painting. The white of the gessoed linen, like that of watercolor paper, serves as the white in the painting. I seldom use opaque white paint. I use the colors of my palette to paint around the section to be white, as I did in the watercolor study in the oil of Twin Falls. For the oils, I make extensive graphite drawings on the primed linen before ever starting to apply paint. That way, I visualize and notate the areas of light and dark, layers of opaque color, and then glazes of more transparent colors build up the surface of the painting. Stop, MR204, Blue Dun. Finally, let's put ourselves on a stretch of one of Maine's fabled rivers known for brook trout and landlocked salmon. Fishermen never reveal their best spots. We are in waders with the fly rod poised to cast to a rise near the bank. Fish, caught or not, or caught and released. This is one of my favorite ways to absorb the landscape. I may not be painting, but I am feeling and seeing through my senses. The smell of the woods, the rush of cold water tightening the waders around my legs, the call of a pileated woodpecker over the roar of the river, the sun sparkling on the water. All of these things will creep into my memory when I am back in the studio working on a painting of the river or the woods or a drawing of the fly I tied onto my line that day. Blue Dun is a tiny ink, watercolor, and gouache painting. My fly box is filled with delicate hand-tied flies, each a study of intimate detail, fine line, and small scale. I worked as a technical illustrator years ago, and the craft of draftsmanship allows me to record these gems while imagining myself back on the river that day, casting to a rise near the bank. Stop. Concluding statement. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed the tour of paintings and places that are near and dear to my heart. As development and sprawl encroach upon more and more of our cherished wilderness, my aim is to celebrate and preserve this special landscape through my paintings. Perhaps we'll meet again one day on a back road in Maine.